Hello, gentle viewer. I don't know if you know, but there's been a weird goings on with Marvel Comics promoting Captain Marvel and Marvel Unlimited, but without Steve Rogers. Yes, I just read the headline, but we're going to talk about it and get into it because it's a lot of detail. First saw this yesterday, actually, day before yesterday. It was on a live stream. They were showing off the ad and go, look at this ad. It's so crazy. It's like, and I'll show it to you first. This ad for Marvel Unlimited. Hey, read Captain America. And then the picture has no Steve Rogers. So apparently, cis white males are problematic for Marvel and their current agenda. So they're just going to show off a bunch of people that aren't Steve Rogers, who aren't actual Captain America. I mean, they eventually show. I don't know if it has the other ad down here. They eventually show this one too on the Facebooks, and it has cripes Winter Falcon here in this one, but he's a black man. Not no white males allowed. No white males allowed. There's Peggy Carter. But let's go over the article because it talks about all the different things that you're seeing here. Sort of breaks down what's happening and talks about how it's basically summarizing what's read by the ads. And Steve Rogers is nowhere to be seen. Derp. So who are all these people? Let's dig into it here. The ad features Samantha Wilson, who first debuted in Spider-Gwen Volume 2, Number 1 as a gender-bent version of Sam Wilson, aka Falcon. You can see her at the bottom left corner of the ad. So this is the gender bend on Sam there. Yeah, this is her final phrase. Here's her appearance. Yeah. Enough of this. These men are property of Shield, and as for you, Spider Woman, you're under arrest. I cannot not hear Roger Rabbit when people say that. And then it says above Samantha Wilson is Danielle Cage, the daughter of Luke Cage, who first appears as Captain America in Ultron Forever and continues her adventures in U.S. Avengers. And there's not much more to say about that. That is her right there, plucked straight from the comic, of course, because why would you? Well, but how could you be bothered to? Anyways, they want to basically promote these characters. Who knows why? So in the center of the image is Roberta Mendez, who was forcefully subjected to the super serum by her husband. Oh, white male bad. I mean, men are bad. They're horrible people, evil. Can't deal with them. So and then she would become Captain America upon hearing the trigger words "Avengers Assemble." She first appears in Secret Wars 2099. So this is a 2099 character, and she's triggered, as all Karens are, and turns into this version of Captain America in the future. Which I get it. They gotta have like Captain America. Steve Rogers does have the super soldier serum, so he has a longer lifespan, but not to 2099 apparently. So they brought this in. They brought back the same serum, and forcefully injected it in her. I can't imagine what scenario they bring into this, but it's gonna be men bad. Men are just bad. Anyways, and then for the final character, the bottom right, this is Peggy Carter, or Captain Peggy. She's a character concept from a Marvel mobile game, Marvel Puzzle Quest, who eventually got her own, not her own, but eventually got integrated into a comic later on. No date on it, but yeah, something called Exiles, where she's hanging out with I don't know who this is. Maybe it's X-19, and then a baby bub, a mini Wolverine. It has to be an alternate timeline of some type. Oh, and there's one more here. The final and last character in the ad appears to be Ricky Barnes. Ricky Barnes was introduced as a female version of Bucky Barnes in the Hero Reborn Captain America series. There she is there, doing her Bucky thing. She would eventually take on the identity of Nomad in Nomad Girl Without a World. So they brought in the Nomad one, the one who's not actually Captain America or any version of Captain America, but did play Bucky, his compatriot in the past, or the compatriot of Captain America. So not Captain America, but okay. And here it goes on, talks about how there's another ad that also doesn't have Steve Rogers. It does have Peggy Carter, Daniel Cage. It shows Sam Wilson as Captain America. So like, because he did eventually pick up the mantle at one point. Sam Wilson first became Captain America in an all-new Captain America #1 in 2014. 2014. So yeah, this has just been asking what do you make of this. So that's the article, and they're busy promoting this. They're also Marvel's also doing a little bit of wokeness over here on their YouTube channel. Hey, look, it's a thing that has actually Steve Rogers in it because it's talking about the costumes from the MCU. It has 60,000 views. Now, that's good in isolation, but this channel has 14 million subscribers. How are these videos getting so few views? And then there's now there is something called Marvel's 616. It seems to be an anthology series, and it's coming to Disney Plus, talking about the history of things here of Marvel. And this one here, and we're just gonna take a quick look at it because it's interesting one. It's interesting.
We saw this really great spike in excitement and love and passion with Captain Marvel. And
Ooh,
it really sort of inspired us to do more because we knew
what
that
is
there's
this?
a fan community out there that's activated. We can create more
Activated?
content for them.
This is
Captain
marketing
Marvel was
speak.
sort of that
She's a
signpost to
VP though.
change.
What is this artwork?
I had a conversation with my old boss. We were talking a lot about my childhood and talking about sort of the experiences I had, how I
Oh,
went to
brother.
prom in like a piece of cloth I had wrapped around myself because I couldn't find any clothing that was appropriate for a young Muslim woman to wear to prom. Prom, which by the way I went by myself because I was not allowed to date.
Of course.
And running, like doing track while I was fasting, and just he was just really interested in like the fact that like I lived such a distinct experience that not many people really talked about. And he walked in and he's like, I was really thinking a lot about, your stories, and it would be great if we had like a character that was based on, on you, based on like the young Sunnas of the world. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, are we allowed to do this? Like this is the concept. I didn't think anyone would be interested.
A moment of clarity from the VP of what was it, talent and what was the title they give her here? Where is her title? Character and content for Marvel. It's like, okay.
Like this is the concept. I didn't think anyone would be interested. And he was like, let's do it.
So apparently, this series is going to be about,
We went straight into pitch mode, and the first person that
just to talk about it a bit more. Some discussions I've seen in other articles is about how, or just there was even Kiki Candy from Clownfish TV talked about this, about how this seems to be a series about, at least part of it seems to be about, women in Marvel and their history. When a lot of people, there's long been a history long told about, or the whole idea of the identity politics of wokeness is because there's not enough women in Marvel. But yet there's this whole history behind women being in Marvel. So pick a lane, please.
I thought of was G. Willow Wilson, who was a comic book writer and a
Mm-hmm.
novelist
Mm-hmm.
and a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
She called me out of the blue and she said to me, "Hey, we want to create a new young American Muslim superheroine and put her on her own ongoing series. Do you want to write this book and help develop this character?" And I was pretty convinced that they were joking because I said, "There's
Again, moments of clarity. Like they do understand this is not remotely popular. Like this is gonna, you're filling a segment that exists specifically only on Twitter. Basically, this whole niche, this group, this isolated sector of people that want this specific thing, and they're all just really vocal people on Twitter that don't like Marvel as is, don't like white males being characters in Marvel comics, and they wanted to change. They want to gender bend everything, turn all the men into women, turn all the women into people of color, by POC, and everything else. It's like we get it. You want have to have representation, and that's fine. You do realize that this is an isolated segment. This is an isolated group, and there's people, and these people on the left, especially, that would ever identify with this, are never going to buy your product. They're going to look at the product, and say, "Hey, that's a good job that you're doing that," and then they're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy it.
There's no way that you ran that past, Marvel Comics. So they said yes. How often does that happen? I didn't say yes right away. To be called up by two editors at Marvel and told, yes, we want to put a Muslim editor and a Muslim writer on a book about a Muslim character.
Hmm.
I was like, you're going to have to hire an intern just to open all this hate mail. You're gonna, it just seemed like waving a red flag in
All
the
these moments
sense
of
of
clarity, like,
all of the
why are you
people who
doing this?
thought
People are
that
going to hate
Marvel
it. Oh my
can't
God,
make
maybe we
excellent
shouldn't do it.
supervillain comics at all. But Sana was
Hmm.
so driven about this series. She was so prepared.
So driven, so without clarity. I just keep saying moments of clarity. It's like you find an agenda and you push it, and you don't care you don't care about the fallout. It's going to be hate mail just because this isn't a good character. There's going to be like reactionary things, like even within Twitter. Not never mind general the normies, quote unquote, the buying public that goes to comic book shops and that goes there just to meet up with people and meet up with the hang out with the shop owner and have discussions about comics and things like that. They're not gonna. I can't really say those are normies, but those are people that are basically there for the history. Like they've lived through this long history with the comic books, with the different characters that they follow, that they collect, and then you bring this in, which is fine if it's written well and everything else, but it's going to generate a lot of negative feedback, and if you're not ready to handle that feedback, you're not in for a good time.
To usher it through, to make sure that it was done right, to oversee all the nitty gritty, to run interference if necessary. That I was just kind of swept along. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're this committed, I'm this committed. Let's do it.
Yeah, so that's what we're dealing with. This is what's happening right now. This is Marvel in 2020. This is Marvel promoting their product in 2020. Captain America, never mind Steve Rogers, never mind the amount of legacy and history with that character. Let's bring in these other people. We've got women of color, and everything that have also been Captain Americas. Let's showcase them instead. We don't. Who cares about this Steve Rogers guy? He's from before World War II. He's a problematic person. He's a white male. He's problematic. He will not sell our comics apparently. So we're not going to show him off, even though he's the most popular thing. Even though when you do videos about him, he scores 3 times to 6 times as many views in the same amount of time as promotional content for other characters, for other shows and other things, like this Empire one, like unboxing, like because like that's got 60K views. What else we got here? There's one that was really big and noticeable. Like you do, where are you? You're talking about Black Knight and everything else, and that's getting a lot of views because it's new content. So that's good. So, anyways, I'm gonna get off that tangent and just let you know that that's the end of the video. If you do you feel that this is a good move by Marvel to basically abandon Steve Rogers and start promoting this instead of the actual original Captain America, the one that they've been pushing so hard in the movies, the one that's been basically carried the movies from front to back, along with Iron Man and everybody else? Or do you think that this is a bad idea? That this is like catering to an audience that will never buy their comics, that will never buy the product, that are just basically they're basically virtue signaling and creating this kind of like, aren't we good people? Aren't we just making sure everyone's involved? And meanwhile, is appealing to people that will never buy their work. Anyways, so if you like the video, please toss it a like. Please feel free to subscribe if you enjoy this content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.